Right. Can everyone hear me?
Yep, I can hear loud and clear.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. Happy to be back online, Joe. How have you been?
I'm good. How you doing? Thanks for jumping on.
Yeah, of course. Always, always. Doing well, very well. So I'm very excited to talk today and dive into everything Theta and the future of this whole AI space. It's a changing landscape, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. I read something over the weekend, and I wanted to add on to what we had discussed over our conversation a month or so ago, and I think it fits right in. And it's kind of cool. So I know I didn't. I know we can run off each other. So I didn't. There's really no
Oh yeah.
talking points for it, but yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be pretty cool. So before I get started, I just want to say really quick, none of this is financial advice. It's just opinions and information that we're just discussing about Theta and the network, and we'll see where it takes us. But I just want to put that disclaimer out there before we start.
Yeah, of course. None of this is financial advice, and of course, do your own research. Consult whoever you consult, and yeah, it's been a real fun journey. I've been really excited to dive in and just kind of break down some of the economics on things, and I think the videos have served the community very well. Especially our interview. I think we both gained a lot of insight, created a good friendship, and built a good knowledge base.
I think you're killing it with all the videos, even outside of our conversation, with all the information you're putting out. It's invaluable for anyone who's paying attention to this space. So, I mean, I appreciate all your work and keep it up, man. I mean, you're killing it.
Yeah, I think so. I've kind of taken the info. I appreciate it greatly. Is just moving towards having people understand like how Nvidia, how these business models like actually function, so that we can kind of help data people understand like, okay, well, how does this actually plug in, and how we can marry these blockchain elements to the basic Nvidias and the big hyperscalers going forward, because that's like the main component. Everyone's questioning, okay, how do we actually plug this thing in? Bring these synergies together. And I think the previous video I did, I think I touched on that a bit, and we could probably touch on some more of that tonight as well too.
Absolutely. So we'll just jump on in. Quick question for you before I start. Did you know Elon Musk and I'm not sure if you're familiar with who is Ron Barron? They had a conversation a few days ago, and it was people I saw took clips of it
Mhm.
on X, but I watched the full hour. And it is awesome. Did you hear or catch anything from that yet?
I didn't. I did not hear that yet. If you want to lay it up for us, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. So Ron Barron, he has a hedge fund company, and he invested money with Elon Musk, and they had a conversation of where Elon thinks robots are going and what he wants to do for Tesla, Optimus, and Tesla cars. And man, I was blown away with what he's looking to do. So for his Tesla Optimus, he's looking to have between 30 and 40 billion with a B Optimus robots. And when I heard that, I said to myself, I said, man, that's insane to begin with. And he's looking to really hit every facet of everyone's life. As you and I had spoken on our conversation with that you've been putting out, that
Mhm.
he's looking to have, people can use it for residential. It would be basically across all industries and his cars as well. But he was just saying robots alone, 30 to 40 billion. So, when you first said that, I said to myself, that's a lot of compute, and a lot of compute's going to be needed on the edge. And as we discussed with Theta wrapping what we believe Theta has wrapped up with the blockchain and the tech, there's really no competition for it. That you know the
Yeah,
speed in
there's
which. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. You're bringing up some really good points. Where I recently had just heard a little clip where Elon was speaking on the All In podcast, and he, going into what we talked about in our previous conversation, he mentioned how he has X amount of capacity through the Tesla cars, where there's so much abundance of the dialogue that we had that Elon is actually hitting on now, and then add in the robotic elements, the power wall elements, right? As deflationary costs of battery tech gets cheaper, the things we're discussing are going to be coming into reality. And I think the number, I'm trying to remember what the number was he floated, how much capacity the Tesla fleet actually has of usable AI jobs capacity. But it's very cool at the 58-minute mark, I believe. I think I have that nailed in my mind there. Of the All In podcast, he does mention, so he's thinking about these things. So it's really cool to see that.
Oh, he's definitely thinking about it because as he was talking about the robots, he was saying he wants them to get down to a certain dollar amount what's affordable for people. But what he said was, which I was just blown away with, the U.S. output is about 460 gigawatts of all sources of energy currently that the U.S. uses. He's looking to put 100 gigawatts of solar power AI satellites into orbit, which will also need compute. So he's looking at one point between 30 and 40 billion Optimus robots as it scales out. And then he needs 100 gigawatts of power and satellites in orbit. And he went on to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Nope, nope.
Oh,
Keep going, keep going. I just taking a breath there, just listening.
no, and he was going on to say that, um, the capacity for not only power and compute, and it's just gonna, I think he said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me. It's as we said, it's exponential. It's going to keep going and going and going, and he's also getting it at chips. So he's saying, it's wild. I'm just pulling up my notes here. He's saying that he's from TSMC and Samsung. He's requesting between 100 and 200 billion chips per year, and he's saying that's not enough. So he's starting his, he has his AI 5 chip, and he did say he's introducing his AI 5 chip with software to make this run faster. Whatever that software is, he didn't say, and but
I think, yeah, yeah.
it,
The vertical integration seems to be the way all these hyperscalers are going to start moving, just because they're running out of the runway's running out, and they're kind of needing to build it as the plane is moving. That seems to be the consensus with power, with robotics, with the compute, and Theta plugging in there is, to me, like the ultimate solution to help them lay this tar down and build this runway.
well, that's what it is. And as we spoke on our other conversation, and even now, yeah, they need the compute, but they also need the locality of it. They can't be going back to the central data center with all these robots going back and forth. They're going to be communicating, as we said, prior, the cars communicating, driving down the road, the FSDs and everything else. So he's also putting robots into that, and they're going to need to commute locally. So I, you know, whatever anyone might think of where Theta is and what Theta may or may not do, the scale of the AI that's rolling out, and if you think of how big this is going to be, and let me even add, Jensen had said he's looking to have 100 million AI agents in just in Nvidia alone. So you're looking at two companies that are looking to scale massive amounts of agents, robots, cars, and they're going to need not only the compute but the locality of everything, and to make it faster, because as Elon was saying, these chips aren't fast enough for how fast they're scaling, and adding that extra compute layer, that software layer onto all these chips, saving them, uh, as I said in my video years ago, as State and Energy Company, saving them energy by latency, speed, cost for running. I just it all compounds in, and it's almost a no-brainer, I feel.
Yeah, yeah. The power generation, all these bottlenecks that are occurring with compute right now. They're running out of the runway, and they're needing to scale and grow into a system in which especially for the U.S. the grid is not ready for this huge upscale that's going to occur. We need power generation. We need more chip manufacturing, but we're also in a bind too with the ability to gain resources, right? Because China has a lot of rare earth metals and minerals, and this is needed to compete. So the two main bottlenecks that I've been watching are the power issue, and then of course the actual material issue. And I guess the third option though too is like if you have a data center in the desert, you do need water to cool. So as you said, with edge devices, locality is everything. The closer you can get to the source, the better. And then input that the Theta Edge Cloud goes right there, right alongside everything. So those I guess those three things are going to be the main things going forward to bridge the gap before we get to photovoltaic computing. And we don't need copper. We don't need certain elements within boards. But we are still a long way from those innovations, even in the exponential age. But it's very cool to see Theta coming along and helping to deal with this massive scale up problem right now.
Yeah, and to add to that massive scale up, the amount, I mean, these AI agents, robots, and everything, they're going to be making their own decisions. They're not going to have going back to a human in the office clearing everything because they're going to have the information so much faster. They're going to be creating subchains upon subchains upon subchains, whether it's for payments or for whatever it might be for. It's going to audit everything they have for all these subchains. And if you have 30 and 40 billion Optimus robots, and you have cars on top of that, and then you have AI agents on pretty much every single company in the world. Eventually, they're all going that way. I put a post out earlier this week about Ernst and Young. It's an older post. I had read it a while ago, and I thought it was pretty fitting for now because of everything that's happening. And they took a poll, I think, of 5,000 CEOs, and half of them, 48% of them, are already implementing agents into their companies now. So if all of the scale up and these layers have to be built out to a real industrial size as this whole blockchain rolls out from the old system, you're going to see, I believe, and again, could be wrong, this is the way I see it though, you're going to see subchains and tokens and businesses and things that people didn't even believe was going to happen, all created by these agents and robots on the back end. And at the speed at which they can do it, it's the efficiency just drives costs. It's great.
We're at a point now where we're having these 1890 to 1925 dialogues where innovation from the old world, this industrial age, really is coming online in the hyperscaler way. It's insane to think about, but you're absolutely right. Where tasks that we once thought were even us making our shorts content, right? We utilizing software to help speed up some of these processes. There is so much out there to speed up stuff that we used to do, even in 2010, where you would manually go through and snip content. You no longer have to do. You've made a deflationary element within the space, and then add AI and studying of the actions and tasks, and then they're going to go out and make their own tasks and subtasks below that. You just have endless amounts of work for the edge cloud to do going forward, and it just scales from there. And then of course the question comes about of humans finding their place within this new age world and the new exciting opportunities that are presented when you have these layers building on top of each other constantly, right? Especially moving, we have a capitalistic society of people, creating market prices and then maneuvering where you have the hyperscalers and people out competing each other, utilizing AI and then quickly making new innovations deflationary. It's a very, very exponential age, to say the least.
No, it truly is. It's just going to be absolutely wild. And I'm really interested how they're going to integrate T Drop into all this because I feel the rebranding of T Drop working with these agents is going to be really exciting. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think it's pretty exciting.
I think it's probably gonna be like a test bed, the test bed for the Tfuel and understanding that we really got to get people comfortable and these businesses comfortable with the tokenization. We're already seeing that with tokens within the AI space, with compute. So now it's just taking that next step and making these traditional companies very comfortable in understanding how it's going to impact their current business model and what their new business model looks for 10 years down the line here, especially where, we have an economy where there's more and more, different forms of sports betting. So I really think that maneuvering into the Philadelphia Union and the other sports teams is a great space to be with the poly markets and other things coming about. So really aligning and setting that foundation that, I think a lot of people really just got burnt out over the past 4 years in this crypto bear market. But I don't think it's a reflection of the action underneath. It's just you have to separate price from the actions being taken, and it's clearly the team has been taking action. If and people can be very upset about price action, but you need to understand that you're operating a space where the traditionally was VCs, and now it's everyone. So you have this open forum, open dialogue, very much democracy of conversation within these assets. Whereas you always used to have people who were accredited investors in these conversations. So you are truly getting a mix of different individuals. And sometimes the echo chamber can create a lot of negativity, but it can also create a lot of good and finding the true answer of where a project is going. But I think the actions from the team have only shown us that they are able to maneuver, create, and then recreate themselves. And that's something I haven't seen from a lot of early stage projects. And I think it's an underloved piece of what Theta Labs has actually done.
Yeah, and I think this market cycle, and I don't, again, none of this is financial advice. I don't believe it's even near over. I think that there's going to be a lot of, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of tokens that are shit anyway, but I think there's only going to be a few big winners. You know, what I mean, I see this whole system is changing, and I've posted about this a number of times. It's changing over in real time, and not only is it changing over in real time, there's a whole global infrastructure, and I'm only talking about data right now, that's been being built out for AI. That, in my opinion, it's breakneck speed. To be honest with you, I mean, yeah, people were upset with the price and everything else, but building this stuff out and they're building it out around all these companies, because as you're seeing how compatible edge cloud's becoming just by going on their site and looking to see what they're compatible with, and for them to be able to work on that, be compatible, and run all those beta tests in the background to make sure it's completely perfect for when the full release is in December next month, which is only a couple weeks away. I don't know what's going to be released because it's in the beginning of the month. It's only a few weeks away. Uh, I mean, it's groundbreaking. It's changing. Yeah, it's for a lot of people. I'm sure. I don't know how much people invest. I don't know what people have, and I don't really care what people have. But some people get nervous, because it's what they believe in. But they're looking for the quick return, and I don't think that quick return, building out something like this is going to come overnight. And I think we're at a point now where we're going to see some things change in the blockchain world, crypto world. I think they're going to pump this market full of money starting soon. And Trump's already said it, and they're going to hand out stimmy checks for people who make under X dollars. So there's money coming into the market. And, Nvidia's earnings are coming out next week. I would just assume they're going to beat earnings. Whether whether the stock goes up after that's a different story, because it seems like every time they beat earnings, it drops. But that's another story. But no, I think that we got so many tailwinds going for us, and I think we're with Edge Cloud coming out next month. I think we're going to see a lot of great things come about in the coming months.
Yeah, totally agree. I think the money printer is going to be very abundant, and the U.S. is really needing for a new economic driver. And if they can become the crypto haven going forward, that would be the ultimate import effect of capital into the U.S., especially with some of the competition that's happening around the globe. if you can create and tailor to these business models and these business people with the space, that's only going to enhance the printing flow and then that money flow maneuvering within the crypto space itself. So if there's a lot of rotation going on, money markets looking for yield, different things happening within the space. So you create that environment. You're right. We do have the tailwinds, and even if people are starting to get more burnt out, of course, not financial advice, but I actually like to see when people start really getting down and out in the space, because it means that we're starting to finally see some of the chop really come to the surface and see that, hey, people are really getting burned up in this space. But usually that means we're getting real close. So again, not financial advice, but they really need to figure out with the economics that they've put in place how they're going to maneuver the system where you have inflationary elements, but you do have massive deflationary elements with AI and compute, and figuring out how to marry and transition society going forward. So there's a dance that has to be made somewhere in the middle, and technologies and crypto, Theta specifically, DeepIn, has its place. And I think we've seen privacy now starting to catch a bid. I think second chapter is probably going to be DeepIn, most likely, as people get more comfortable again with the crypto space.
I think you're 100% right. They're gonna they need DPIN, obviously, but even on the backside, how to marry those two, as you were saying, I think that's where you get the UBI coming in. And we discussed this on our discussion, but I think there's going to be displacement. I also think, again, not financial advice. I think Trump's got to win the primaries, right? Republicans got to win primaries next spring. So, and he wants everybody to have a great Christmas. I mean, is he really not going to pump this market before Christmas? I don't know. I don't know, but I mean, I just his whole besides making America great again, is economy. He loves the economy. He wants everybody to have money or pump the market, so he says. And he said he's going to do it, but why would you not do it before Christmas, or at least start it, right? But
yeah, there's obviously there's incentives for politicians on certain sides to create certain opportunistic moments. And I think I'll give props to the Republican Party, where they with crypto and the advisors that they had backing the administration, if they can get crypto to another scale, they are fully funded for their battlefield for the next 20 years going forward by being the crypto party. So that's a very good advantage on their side to compete into the AI world, and then helping to narrate that story going forward. I'm a financialist, basically. I'm always like looking at both sides of everything to see, like, okay, how are people deciding and what decisions are being made. But to marry the old world with the new world is a very complicated process, and studying the incentives is really how my head looks at the things going forward. That makes sense.
absolutely, I mean, I think phones will be subsidized through compute. We discussed about the cars, buying a few Teslas, leasing them out if you want. They got to have something to incentivize people to get into this. And yeah, if Tesla takes 3% of all the compute for the month for every car they have, and you take 97%, there's an incentive not to have a car payment or insurance payment to get these automobiles on the road, or robots on the road. So I think that's maybe how they might marry it, through the UBI.
Yeah, the UBI thing, I think, is probably the most slept on argument for crypto that I haven't, just between me and you have talked about it, but other people in the space haven't really been as vocal in understanding, like, how, or pacing out how that actually occurs. And it's very clear that through AI, we can create these flows where it's not just a smart fridge, or it's not just a smart TV or a smart car. It's a provider of compute. And if you can do multiple things with one device, right, or your Optimus robot, right, like there's multiple things that you could do. these assets that were once, just basically depreciating and losing value, potentially could supersede their value. And I think a good example of that was when this company came out with this a Bitcoin heater, and it used the heat it produced as a Bitcoin miner to heat people's homes. And I think it was just a little bit profitable. I don't think it was very profitable, but to me, that was like the canary in the coal mine of the thesis of, okay, these devices, heater, just as an example, can do multiple things. And same with the Bitcoin mining firms, where they were using some of the off gassing that they were just releasing into the atmosphere, and they use that to power some of the miners to mine Bitcoin. So there's multiple pieces and positioning to optimize the energy production, but also to subsidize, lower the cost or barrier to entry for citizens of each nation into these goods and services.
And I think part of that, what you're saying, well, I think the whole thing is, the market structure bill is important. And I think, I believe once that's passed, I think crypto, besides the money printing, will probably be free sailing for the most part. I don't know what else they're waiting on. But besides, the whole market structure of what's going on with the money printing and those, and the nature of those things. But, you know, they really, how do I say it? Like, I think UBI is baked in the cake. Again, not financial advice. I think UBI is baked in the cake. A lot of the market structure, I believe, is based around payments, and whether it's Theta Compute, whether it's Tesla Compute, and people are going to be, however people will get paid through compute, and you're going to need stable coins, and there's a lot of that going into this. I believe going into this bill, and I believe once all of these AI companies understand what's a security, and they're and by no means CFTC and the SEC has been pretty clear on that. Now it's not into law, but they've been pretty clear on what they're trying to tell us what is security. But even securities and payment processing, and the on-off chain verification that Theta has a patent for doing all these transactions. And who knows, maybe that could even parlay for verification purposes into Chainlink, those types of things, because everything seems to be a web. I think that's what a lot of this market is waiting for the market structure bill, and pushing all of that forward and allowing these companies to actually do real business instead of bickering on what they can and cannot do because they're afraid to get sued. And I do think there's enough clarity now to do it, but I understand the holdback of doing so too, because these companies want to do it the right way.
Agreed. Yeah, the rules to the road were very unclear in previous. I remember there was uncertainty about where crypto companies should go. Is the U.S. actually friendly for the crypto space going forward? And we saw many U.S. based firms considering exiting the U.S., maneuvering to places like Singapore and varying other jurisdictions because they were very uncertain about their future. But now I think a big moment for me with the market bill is the like Uniswap. Uniswap just finally turned on the fees or the revenue sharing for the crypto asset. And that's a big tell going forward because Uniswap was waiting for the longest time to do this, and having the comfortability to actually do a revenue share with their token holders. And to see them actually make that transition to me means that we're making tremendous progress within the crypto space, and that companies are getting more comfortable with these token models and understanding, and the discussions within Washington and other places, the rules to the road for how they should proceed. And once you get the comfortability, these engines are going to be very good to tap for these traditional companies, especially. I really think about Theta and Tfuel as like almost like an operating system for a computer, but you have it built, and now you're ready to scale it through through the monetary piece, where if you can get Tfuel to a certain number, you're basically turning on the engine. You're creating the driving force to make the engine spin and shift gears. And by doing so, then you create these sub apps that can occur on the network. In the previous video that I've done, we talk about Bitcoin in this example. I don't know how many people were here for 2013 Bitcoin, just about. Things weren't super profitable, right? Like, and people had all these questions. No one really knew what it was, but people were still participating. And there were some people that were like, this is the future. And they were going very hard into the asset, even though they were losing money on mining in some capacity. But look at those people in the future. And obviously, past performance not equate in every scenario, but the ability to be early on these trends before these operating systems really fully come online and the DApps start getting built, whether it's through subchains and varying other things, you're very much ahead in that flow through. And now, like the previous video, we talked about Zcash because we're kind of seeing that same chapter happen again, where you're seeing a mini Bitcoin reappear through proof of work mining, and you're going to see how many businesses shoot off. We've already seen the Winklevoss twins come about with their own DAT company, which is going to be kind of like a micro strategy for Zcash. And then how many mining companies are going to transition to both AI DPIN with Theta as well as Zcash mining, since Bitcoin mining profitability is tapped out. They're going to look for new revenue sources. So the operating system of Theta is just the beginning, and then it's just really about churning the machine, making it spin, and then once it's spinning, it's not going to stop spinning. It's only going to expand from there, because the businesses that are building underneath are all incentivized and aligned to keep moving forward.